Alrighty, what is going on, Discord family, and welcome back to another edition of Market Review with me, T. Hobbs. Today is January the 30th, 2025, year of our Lord, and it was another phenomenal day in the market. Every day waking up is phenomenal, but today was very, very clean. Nice and easy range day on the Dow Jones. Other instruments also stayed in a range, which we will review those as well. As you guys know, we'll be breaking down my pre-market plan on the the Dow Jones, Jay Seals' pre-market plan on the S&P 500, and I will be giving a shout out today to Trading Yoga Girl as well for her pre-market plan on the S&P 500. So strap in. We'll try to make this fairly quick, and we get you guys out of here. All right. So on the day, what was I looking for? All right, so if we go zoom out to the daily candle, as we do early in the morning every single day, we talked about this doji candle here, this failure to get back above that doji candle or Tuesday's high, right? On Wednesday, we stayed in the range of Tuesday's candle. So a couple things I was looking for is I was looking for more downside, right? Why was I looking for more downside? Because we're in heavy premium, right? Until the market breaks this high and then uses this high as support to make all of this discount because we're trading so far above it, that means that where we are currently is premium price, right? First thing I ask myself is, are we in premium or discount? In premium, it doesn't mean I'm only looking for shorts. It means that I have a short bias, right? So my thought process was two things could happen. One, I could be wrong and we could run these highs, that's what happened. Or two, we could just stay in balance of the Wednesday's candle, right? And potentially stay in balance of Tuesday's candle. That's exactly what we got. So let's break down the 4 hour. Let's go down to the 4 hours so I can break down my thesis and my plan. My thought process is when we were in the markdown phase, we were bearish as long as we stayed below 45,144. You can see we barely just peaked our head above that level. So that was breaking that bearish trend, right? We were bullish as long as we stayed above 44,009. You can see we never even sniffed that level. Okay, I said buyers were unsuccessful thus far on trading above Tuesday's high. Objectively, that was true, right? And I suspect that that will be a high of the week, right? I was basically looking for Tuesday's high to be the high of the week, right? I said Caterpillar earnings caused a flash crash in the pre-market, right? Which it did, right? It didn't react to nothing, but I said the pre-market, so the bulls will need to defend the lows. I would like to see the previous day low break for any continuation to occur, but until then we play the range to the downside. This entire uptrend is in danger of reversing, right? So my thesis is, hey, until this previous day low breaks at 749, the market is still bullish, right? I wanted to see the market break this previous day low, and then I would be more convinced that we were going bearish. But when I didn't see this break, I went ahead and took longs in the morning, right? Now I'll talk about those traders as well. But my plan intraday, well, you have to identify the range. Every single day we identify the range in here, right? The PM session high and the PM session low is your range usually, especially if we're just dancing around those two levels, it usually ends up being your range for London or for Tokyo, Asia, London. And then that range carries over into New York. In this situation for the Dow, all the ranges were basically the same, okay? That level was between 44,144 through 45,063 at the highs, right? Wait, 45,144 to 45,063, yeah. And then the low was 44,831 through 44,748. And you can see these 4 hour candles are showing you that's exactly what the market did. Toward the end of the day, we ended up tapping the low and we went right back to the high. We just played inside the range, clear consolidation, not bringing new highs, not breaking lows until like right at the end of the day, we peaked our head above it. To the extremes, I was looking for this level to be tested and maybe we continue to go higher and then later test this level. To the extreme bearish, I was looking for the daily or the weekly projection level of 45,344 to get hit today, so that I could look to short the market up here. We're still looking good as far as the bullish projection on the weekly in regards to the top-down analysis. My bullish projection was 45,346. We're at 45,063 with basically 1 day left. And usually the market moves between 300 to 400 points. So we're basically on par with our top-down analysis, all right? So let's drop down to the 15-minute chart, and we'll discuss Lux Algo sessions, see how things kind of worked out in regards to that. We'll talk about macro time and all that good stuff as well, right? So if we look back here on the Tokyo London session from Thursday, right? Where's the liquidity? We always got to ask ourselves, where's the liquidity? Where's the draw on liquidity is what the ICT traders say. I say the same thing, just in a different way. If we look at 1800, we got a drop down candle, just like everybody else did, right? That was Sydney. Sydney dropped down. We held the CE of this wick, rallied above Tokyo and London at around 556.10, 630 to be exact. Caterpillar and UPS got their earnings. This is a good macro to take the market short in, or whatever you want to do anyway. I wasn't awake to take it. I wish I was, because I definitely would have shorted this. But the market dumped straight back down to where PM session lows. This is where we started to pick up price, and I will drop down to the lower time frames and discuss kind of what I saw in regards to structure. There's a couple little nugget I want to drop in regards to structure and what I see a lot of times from this 8:30 news candle, right? So first thing I ask myself, right? If you look at my Top Step X charts, right, that I posted in the Discord, the first thing I got written up there in anchor text is, are we in premium or discount, right? Because that's going to determine my bias. That's all I need to know, right? Intraday, higher time frame, all of the above. Premium or discount. That's the first thing you need to know, because that's the thing that's going to ensure that you're on the right side of price, right? The first thing you want to be is on the right side of price at that time, okay? The one thing that I always look at, right? I like to see when we get this 8:30 candle, specifically at 8:30, right? You see this wick high to low. Essentially what I look at this as is a range, right? Some people call it like the ORB, the opening range or whatever. Like, I don't care for the names. All I know is that this candle is setting the dealing range, right? For this area, right? I call it the dealing range for the open. The second thing I do is I take the CE of this wick right here, high to low. And I explained this inside of the Discord today when we were trading, right? I said, hey, there's a good opportunity to go long at the open, right? If you're looking at this, you know, with bullish eyes, which I definitely was. So I take the CE of this wick, right? I understand that this is the range, and I understand that my invalidation point for this particular trade, if I were to take it, would be the previous day low, right? I came down to the lower time frame, and my entry was at 788, 44,788, which was right here on this candle right here. I said, once I saw the doji candle, I said, all right, I'm gonna long anything that taps back into this level. So I went and got long at 44,788. I wrote it up for a quick scalp. I wish I would have held it all day. Psych, I really don't. Because my thought process was that we were very bearish up here. So my thought process was, I'm looking to scalp this into midnight, but I'm trailing tight. I locked in, I was up 100 handles here, right? Give or take, 100 points here. And I trailed it for 70 points. I got stopped out for 70 points, and then I'll talk about my trade later, my second trade later. But over here, I wanted to show you guys all you're looking for, right? And this was kind of slick the way they did it, right? They did it real slick. Sometimes they deliver structure really slickly, right? But if you look closely, you can see that here we put in a high, right? A low, a high, a low, a high, a low. Right here, this low here, this wick, took out these highs right here, the previous high. That's where the flip happened, right? If you weren't paying attention, you'd be looking at this low saying, well, this one didn't bring a new high. It didn't need to, because this one did, right? Even though it's a wick on a smaller time frame, this is a structural break. Not to mention, we broke right here and closed above these previous highs. Right then and there, the market flipped bullish, right? Not to mention, it was previous, support and all that other good stuff here. Now I'm just waiting on time, right? As we start to trade down, I call it out in the Discord. Hey, we trading down into 920, 930, whatever. Normally, I don't take this trade until 929, but I saw it developing down here at 925, and I didn't even know it was 925. I just saw the structure developing. So I went and took it here, right? And then we rallied, right? So we traded down into 920 and then up into 930. We continue to follow price and time, right? We continue to rally up into the 950 macro, and this is where I took my first short, right? I got short at 44,992 was my first entry. My thought process on this trade was, as long as we stay below the previous day high, which is where my stop was, right? I knew that there was an opportunity for the market to potentially return back to these lows and take out the previous day low, because remember, we're in heavy premium. My thought process was very bearish. So the market dropped down immediately a little bit later after my entry, popped all the way back up. And as soon as we got up here, I didn't panic because we didn't come near my stop loss. I just said, okay, I'm going to add now because I want to get paid for my patience, right? So I added, and my ad was at 45,039. So right here in this little cluster right here, I added because we traded down into 1025 and then up on the other side of 45. My thought process is bullish or bearish. I'm anticipating a drop into 1050. When we dropped into 1050, I then took profit at 44,954, which is essentially a couple points above the daily fib, right? Then I just put my stop down at 940, and I got stopped out right here at 940, and it seems like it was a good place to get stopped out because after that, the market reversed, right? Inverse head and shoulders. We dropped down, made this beautiful candle low right here. One thing I'll say is shout out to Valdez because he says it in real time. He says, the second I see something that I would go long on, I'm probably just going to cut the trade. And I was like, yeah, that's probably true because if I saw this, I probably wouldn't have longed it because I like to long the extreme, but this is a very good long opportunity, right? We break above these highs, right? We trade down into 1225, locking right into the daily fib, right? Right below midnight yet again, right? And then another long right into the PM session. The market then changes character, right? Right here. When it has this bearish flip right here, right? We had this high, right? We had these highs here. We had a lower high and then boom, we drop below the low. This is where the market shifts bearish. Now you're just looking for the market to run these highs right here at 45,174. You could have got short. You know, you probably couldn't have held it long because, you know, Top Step would have kicked you out. But if you weren't in Top Step, you was in Apex, you could have caught this entire move straight to the downside, right? Beautiful move. Oh, actually, no, you're good. You're good on Top Step too. The market's still up. I'm thinking Central Standard Time. But yeah, you could have caught this entire move straight down and then caught this entire move right back up. And honestly, I was planning on trading this, but my brother came over and I was chatting with him. And when I looked at my chart, I was like, man, that was easy money, but I'm a relax, right? But anyway, that was how the Dow Jones broke down. Like I said, the pre-market plan for the Dow Jones worked out pretty good. And let's move over to the S&P. All right. So on the S&P, Jay Seals put together a plan. He said he has had 2 inside days and has been consolidating between the start of the gap of 6105, which is up here, right? And 1 hour demand at 6054, which is down here, spot on. I basically had the same levels, right? If the buying fails, this is his bullish plan. If the buying fails at the high, I want to gauge whether buyers will defend the lows. If they do, I want to look for longs. Very simple. If we run with a lot of volume, I want to look for a pullback and I'm looking for the gap fill. Bearish, if we test 6105.25 and we fail, I want to look for shorts targeting the 1 hour demand zone. Essentially, if we get up to 6105 and fail, he's looking for 54, which is exactly what the market did. If we get down to 54 and we find buyers, he want to look to long into 6105. Well, the market did both of those things. I would say this was a damn good plan, right? And if you look in regards a little bit deeper, right? If you go down to the macro time in regards to what time the market did these things, right? And again, you could call it a coincidence. You call it, stupid. You could say, time don't work. Trust me, I've said all of those things and it's just not true, right? It's just not true. It's so not true. But anyway, 929.30, we're at the high. So I'm not looking for longs, right? This is a break and retest trade. If I long this, it's only going to be a scalp into the next, into the next macro or whatever. But right at 950, we got this beautiful double top, right? Beautiful double top. You short this right here, right on the sweep of 6108. You take this straight down. I probably would have got out right at the daily fib because it's just a nice way to get out. But you could have continued to trail targeting the PM session lows. But I mean, a beautiful trade straight down to 6056. I believe Trading Yoga Girl took this trade off of 6056. I think her entry was like 60 or 6059, somewhere around there. Her first target was daily fib, previous day high, and then finally the big gap here. And if I don't know if she held it or not, but I mean, all of her targets were hit spot on. Like she lined this trade up with bullseyes and, she hit it. She lost her first trade here on the pullback to go long, right? I think she got long here inside of 1030 at 60.71, right? Anticipating a push up, but then she got stopped out and then realized, okay, it's just one stop. Let me try to long again at a lower price. Boom, easy money back to the upside. All in all, I believe that the S&P 500 moved very identical to that of the Dow Jones. Now let's go over here to Mr. Crack Cocaine himself, the NASDAQ. This thing was on demon time, right? Is what I like to call it. I mean, the move down was everything you wanted it to be, right? You got the push into, let's turn on macro time, right? You got the push off the high, right? Right into 950. You got the perfect double top right off the weekly fib inside of the in-wall, right? This is oh my God. When I saw this, I saw it live, right? But I was in my own trade, but I'm watching the NASDAQ and I'm like, why can't my instrument do that today? You know, I love my instrument, but some days when it consolidates, it's just crazy. But the NASDAQ has its days too. But I mean, man, this was easy money. Easy money. I mean, straight down to the PM session low, 1.4%, and not much pullback at all. It was just like straight down, up, straight down, up, straight. Moved exactly how you wanted it to move, right? And then the lows, like if you missed this short, oh my God. The lows were just as good, right? You had the perfect double bottom off the PM session low. We got back above the in-wall, held the in-wall with strength, right? Continued to push back down, tested the in-wall one more time right above midnight, and then pushed right into just barely tapping that gap one more time. 276 points down, 317 points down, 276 points up. Guys, if you are struggling to make money on days like this, please give us a call, right? Call 1-800 motherfucker, we can get you right, right? That's what you do. Call the shop, we can get you right. Because on days like this, when the range is this large, there is no reason we can't get you right on days like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the market review. My name is T Hobbs, and you guys have a great day, man. Peace.